Manchester United 2, Everton 0, 3 points in the lunchtime kickoff at Old Trafford today. Mina, how you feeling? You feeling confident, happy after that one we got there in the end?
Yeah, it was. We could have had so many more. We could have had so many more goals, especially in like the first half. I think the second half we kind of lost that little groove that we were in from the first half. But it's 3 points, 6 points this week. Have to be happy with that, especially with big games coming up with for opponents this weekend. So we can start our weekend on good vibes.
Yes, good vibes indeed. Bruno Fernandes gets man of the match today from BT Sport. They were selecting the player. Do you think that's a fair selection on his performance? I mean, you were saying before the game he can play deeper, and I think he showed that today.
Yeah. Like I think today he played in the 6, he played in the 8, he played in the 10, he played in right wing. Bruno Fernandes is one of the few players in Manchester United that Erik ten Hag trusts to play across different positions, and we saw that today. In particularly when he plays in that deeper role, you have to be more disciplined because you're playing in a more compact area, a more dangerous area, and he showed that today. Defensively, disciplined. Going forward, discipline. He could have had three assists easily today with the balls that he was playing to Antony and Rashford. He could have easily had 3 assists. And one thing I like about Bruno Fernandes, and he is criticized sometimes for his performance, but today he just showed why he's important to the team. I think when we're missing Casemiro, obviously McTominay is not a CDM. Bruno, his ability to just drop into that position and play there, and then in the 70th minute get pushed to the 10, and then 80th minute get pushed to a right wing, and just see the game out. It was just a good performance. I'm happy he got man of the match. It could have been McTominay because McTominay equally had a great game, but also a lot of players had good games. And it's been so long since we've been able to say, 11 men on the pitch had great games today. But Bruno Fernandes, he led by example, and I think he was phenomenal today.
Well, picking up on that then, is that one of the more sort of complete performances from United then that we've seen in a while in terms of pretty much to your point, every position you go, everyone did their job today and actually performed well. And even when people like Antony comes off, they're almost a bit unlucky too because everyone was playing so well.
Yeah, and I think I do feel like when Antony came off, we lost a bit of that attacking bite that we had. I think he's underappreciated in terms of what he does on that right-hand side, and people are very critical. He could have had a hat-trick today. He should have buried at least 2 of those chances that he had, and especially I think in the first half, we were all over them. We caused them so many problems, playing that ball over the top, beating them at their own game, basically, pretty much. And Pickford had to keep making save after save, and we just weren't clinical enough because we could have had 5 or 6 goals. I think when we came out in the second half, they set up in a different way defensively where it was kind of man for man. So when Maguire had the ball or Martinez had the ball, they had Onana marking Bruno, they had Idris Gueye on McTominay, they had players marking their man for man, and it just made it more difficult for us to play out of that. And you saw it in the first 15 minutes when we barely created any chances. We didn't have a single shot on goal, and they had 2, albeit it was 2 scrappy opportunities that were just not really testing the goalkeeper. I think when you look across the pitch, and this is what I appreciate, games like today I appreciate because some of these players are not the starters for their positions that they were playing in today. McTominay is not a starter in that position that he was playing. Malacia is not the starter in that position. We know that Luke Shaw is the starter, but when you call upon your players, you want them to perform like they did today. And that's the difference between having a decent bench or having decent rotation players and having quality rotation players. There's players that when they're called upon, they perform out of their socks. And we saw that with Malacia today. We saw that with McTominay today. Even Sabitzer playing in that more forward role in that 10, which some people say he's actually better at. And Ten Hag is experimenting by playing Bruno a bit deeper and Sabitzer there. Everyone in that front line could have had a goal today. Absolutely, everyone could have had a goal, especially in that first half. We just needed to be more clinical. I saw a stat that said that we created the most chances this season for ourselves in the Premier League. And when you look at defensively how we're doing this season in comparison to the past, yeah, we've conceded 20-something goals away from home, but it's quite disheartening when I see people talk about that because it's really 4 games. And then you see a performance today where our goalkeeper's not really been tested, could have had an assist if Antony had finished that chance. For the criticism that he gets, he's tied number 1 with Nick Pope for the Golden Glove this season. And you just see the difference that a solid backline and a CDM makes to a goalkeeper's statistics, honestly. And credit to Harry Maguire, because again, when you call upon your players, you want them to perform. I'll never come into a game where Maguire's starting and I'm like, I want him to do bad, because I want him
No.
to do good. And today he did well. He managed to hold his own, albeit that Everton were not that threatening up front. They were creating some chances through the middle of the park when before Onana and Idris Gueye got subbed off. But I think all in all, could have easily been 4-5-6-0.
Indeed, definitely could have. What did you make of Jadon Sancho as well today? Played off the left. Do you think, I mean, depends on, the Rashford injury, I suppose, but looks like Martial's going to be playing more games too, gets his goal. Do you think that's Sancho's best role? I mean, we've had this discussion so often, haven't we, about, is he a right-hand-sided player? Is he a left-hand-sided player? Is he better as a 10? Do we see what he can be capable of off that left-hand side, again, in a game where you're dominating possession and you're not playing on the counter-attack all the time?
I think today is funny because he was playing as a left winger, but he got his assist on the right hand side.
Right, yeah.
And I think having three players in that position where, like the striker and then the three players behind him, having people who can be interchangeable during the passage of play makes a big difference, because you have Anthony who could drift into the middle, and then you have Martial, who we saw drifting to the left. We saw Sancho going to the right. Is when you don't limit the players to one position, I think you could get the best out of them like that. And you saw it today with Jadon Sancho, his fluidity across the pitch, where he was going through the middle, he was going through the left, got his assist from the right. He's really growing into the demands from Ten Hag and the demands of the team. And this is a guy that struggled this season. And I think not only does Ten Hag want to see him do well, but I think the players do too, because even with that assist, he saw a little inch of space. And this is what he's usually good at. He sees a little inch of space and can play a ball through. And he was able to do it so quickly, even though he had like two Everton players around him. And I think a big part of it is the decision making. He could have put a ball into the box. He could have crossed the ball in. He could have passed the ball back to Rashford. He could have passed it back to Wan-Bissaka. But he chose to go for McTominay. And I think he's growing in confidence, and he's only going to continue to grow. And we just have to be patient with him. I think today's performance, coming off of the midweek game, and then, to get near enough, nearly a full 90 this week is a big deal. This was a guy that was barely getting any minutes at the beginning of the year when he was slowly making his comeback. So I think we trust in Ten Hag, trust in Sancho, trust in the boys. I really think that they're going to continue to grow. And this is no criticism to Everton, because they are a team fighting relegation, but they do look different under Sean Dyche compared to how they looked under Frank Lampard. So I think I'm just disappointed that we didn't increase our goal difference. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. But you said it there perfectly. Trust in Ten Hag, trust in Sancho, trust in the boys. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe. We're out of here. Peace.